Hi, my name is Ryan Coburn, and I am going to be discussing Chapter 7, Question 1. Compare and contrast your beliefs about what is right or wrong in the sexual domain with your peers and your parents' beliefs. Discuss how your attitudes have or have not changed over time. I thought this question was kind of spot on with what this class is about. I think it's about being open-minded. It doesn't necessarily have to change your beliefs, but it should help you to understand how other people think about sex, how what scientific evidence there is behind it, and things like that. So I thought it was spot on for what we're learning. Um, Personally, for me in my adult life, especially as I'm going to college, I've been learning a lot about how the world views different things, and sex being one of them. And as I've become more open-minded, and more open to other people's experiences and way of living. I think one really good example is just last week we watched a video on people with disabilities and their sexuality. Um, and I believe the video took place in Denmark. I'm not sure that sounds right, but it might not be. So just for the purpose of this video, we'll say Denmark, but that really means insert correct country here. um, in the video, if you didn't watch it because there were options, they people with disabilities, their healthcare in that country pays for them to go and have sex with a sex worker once a month. And this video was one that just kind of blew my mind, because none of it was anything that was familiar to me. I've never thought about disabled people and having, sexual feelings, but of course they do. Why wouldn't they? So I That was a big duh. I've never thought about sex being part of someone's health or their health care. You could definitely make an argument for that. That's I'm not sure if healthcare should pay for it. Still, again, you can make an argument for it, but it's true. And lastly, sex work there sounded like a very open thing. It was a career there. It was held in positive regard, which is very different from in the United States. Sex work definitely has a taboo that goes with it. And I still don't know if that's right or wrong. And I probably wouldn't have even questioned it until I saw that video. But then you see how it works in their society and their community, to make it a better place, and how people are okay with it. And I don't know that I've changed my mind, but I'm definitely more open to hearing more about it. As far as my own beliefs, I grew up Christian, I think like most people in this state. Um, and I still live mostly the same way, with those same values, but I'm more open than I was when I was a teenager or when I was young. Um, and I think it's kind of weird. My values have changed as my parents have too. So we still don't diverge very much. Um, but where is I going with this? Hold on. I live by those values. I respect other people's desire to live in other ways. I think one that has been changed that's significant would be premarital sex. Um, just the research behind it and the way other people live. I wouldn't say you should always, that every relationship should start with sex or whatever, but I can see why other people do that in a relationship, and how marriage might not be necessary for them because they're already committed before marriage. So I can be open to that idea. Whereas before I was very close-minded. You have to be married before you have sex, and it was a very taboo idea. Second is masturbation. It was always such a very taboo topic. Like you couldn't even say the word. And I think this week I've said it like 12 times because I generously share with my friends, all the wonderful things I learn, and they love it. They don't really, but I tell them anyway. And they always freak out when I say that word. I'm like, it is not a big deal. I don't think it needs to be held in such a taboo regard. I think it can be a healthy part of someone's sexuality, and it should be approached with education, and it should not be a replacement for relationships. But if that's that can be a healthy thing to do. What else? I think homosexuality is also a really good one. I've actually never had anything against it, but my parents at one point in time did, and we never really discussed it openly till I was in my 20s, and by that time, they were kind of I don't know what happened with them exactly, but they um, were fine with it at that time. Um, so I definitely understand other people's um, sexual preferences. Um, anyway, I just think it's really good to, even if it doesn't match your own values, even if you're still against something else, I think it's a good idea just to know where someone else is coming from. Um, as especially if it's something that doesn't do harm to another person. And maybe that's just my very liberal attitude, but Um, that's what's brought me greater joy and greater understanding of other people and improved my relationships with other people is wanting to know where they come from and respecting their way of living. Um, yeah, that's my video. Thanks for listening.